Found footage fans and filmmakers, listen up. There'll be a quiz later. It's time for Found Footage 101, where I talk about the do's and don'ts of making a found footage film. Here are two new found footage films, Hunting for the HAG and Mind, Body, Spirit. Let's see how they stack up to my found footage questionnaire.
Come on, folks, let's get to class.
First up is Hunting for the HAG, which is new on demand from Into the Night Motion Pictures. It's directed by Paul A. Brooks and written by Paul A. Brooks and Sierra Renfro. A trio of gals, Tara, Beth, and Candy, played by Jasmine Williams, Alexa Maris, and co-writer Sierra Renfro, respectively, as they try to make a documentary about a local legend known as the Hawthorne Hag, who is said to haunt the forests of southern Illinois. They travel to the spot where the legend was born to capture the hag on video for the first time, and things go sideways. Are the actors successfully acting like they aren't acting? Well, all three of the lead actresses are decent, but look more like Sears catalog models than paranormal investigators. The gals are ill-equipped for a jaunt through the woods, wearing shorts and tank tops for this investigation. Yes, later they change into jeans, but this is basically three gals who are not prepared for an encounter with some kind of monster. The three actresses feel rather vapid and clueless, even the ones who are the most motivated to make this documentary. Daniel Roebuck appears as the investigator into this case, and while he adds a little more acting prowess to the film, his recognizability lessens the authenticity of the film. Found footage is supposed to be a genre where we're not supposed to recognize these actors and that they are acting. As soon as you recognize the actor, it takes away from the mystique that this is real footage found. Does the footage found seem authentic and untouched by additional production? Which means there's no omniscient editor making multiple edits between cameras, or an invisible orchestra providing music. This is set up to be footage found and put together to understand what went on during the filming of this hunt for the hag, so a little creative editing between cameras is plausible. Still, there are a few moments where one is wondering who is filming when all three women are in the frame. Then there's a weird 10-minute section of the movie where the camera is shut off and we simply get a live scene that felt out of the blue and very rattling, as if the director wasn't able to think of a way to film it using the found footage method, so they said, fuck it, and just filmed it cinematically for about 10 minutes. Soon after, the camera is picked up and filming commences, but this was a very odd and unsettling way to make a found footage movie. Odd and unsettling in a bad way, not a good one. At the very least, there is no musical accompaniment in the footage captured on camera. It really makes the shift between what is captured on camera and the scenes filmed cinematically distinct from one another. Why don't they just drop the camera and get the hell out of there? Well, at first the gals are trying to capture footage of the hag on film, so they're filming everything. When complications arise on the shoot, the footage is then taken as sport for some and as a means to incriminate others. Basically, Hunting for the Hag justifies the need for the camera to keep filming all the way through. Is there an up-the-nose Blair Witch confessional or a wreck drag away from the camera? Nope, so this film has that going for it. Does anything actually happen? Is the lead in too long and the payoff too short? After an ominous lead-in, there is an awful lot of getting to know you time which stagnates the flow of the story. Not only do the girls have to talk over each other in the car ride there, but they have to do the same thing in the above-ground pool at the cabin while they're staying at before the investigation. Things finally get moving in the last half and keep on moving until the end. There are a few decent jump scares that work, and I do like some plot twists of others being out in this forest at the time of the filming that takes the story into a whole different direction, into a different genre of horror that's not going to sit well with some. There's a very late payoff and a suggestion for a sequel that most likely won't happen in the final moments. Does the film add anything to the subgenre, and is it worth watching? I can't hate Hunting for the Hag if I tried. The actresses, while vapid at times, were engaging and easy on the eyes. While some of their motivations are hazy and they're definitely not prepared for what they're about to see and do, the film highlights that as they fall to pieces once they actually find something in the woods. The shift from cinematically filmed footage to found is jarring and out of the blue. I'm sure with a little use of the noodle, they could have kept everything in the found camera, but they chose the easy way, I guess. Blending elements from I Spit on Your Grave is bold and will turn off some, and a lot of the secondary performances are simply cliches rather than characters. Still, Hunting for the Hag has its moments. This isn't a good movie by far, but it's very watchable. Mind, Body, Spirit is new on demand from Welcome Villain Films. It's directed by Alex Henes and Matthew Merenda, and it's written by Alex Henes, Matthew Merenda, and Topher Hendricks. Anya, played by Sarah J. Bartholomew, has moved across country after inheriting her estranged grandmother's house. Considering herself a healer, Anya attempts to start a YouTube channel focusing on yoga and wellness. But while filming her first video, Anya discovers a secret door behind a bookcase, leading her to her grandmother's secret pantry filled with candles, dried goods, altars, and a journal full of what Anya believes to be spiritual guidance from her grandmother from beyond. Desperate for some kind of direction, Anya shapes her channel to focus on reading from this journal and following its directions to spiritual enlightenment. Unbeknownst to Anya, her grandmother's spirit still resides in the house, and the intentions mapped out in her journal are much more insidious than Anya understands. Are the actors successfully acting like they aren't acting? Since most of the film focuses solely on Sarah J. Bartholomew as Anya, it's important that she's likable and relatable. I found her to be so, but your mileage may vary depending on how much spiritualism you can take. Some people find that sort of mindset insufferable, but I found Bartholomew to play Anya as personable. There are a few times she messes up and she sort of laughs at herself, which won me over. Anya is a sad soul, sort of flailing in the wind and trying to find her way in life. When she finds her grandmother's journal, she desperately clings to it. Anya feels like a fully developed character and one worth following. The other actors, Maddie Breedy, who plays Anya's only friend in California, and a fellow influencer, and Anna Kniege, who plays Anya's concerned mother, both feel genuine and play their part as important secondary characters who are attempting to help Anya through all of this. Does the footage found seem authentic and untouched by additional production? There's no opening blurb explaining how this footage was attained or anything like that. All of that information is basically given to us through the narrative captured on the film, and we assume that these videos are uploaded to YouTube at some time. Basically, all of the film has been recorded with Anya's computer camera being the lead camera source. This leads to some tricky camera work so that the necessary information can be conveyed. There are times that the camera rotates at a 360-degree angle, or is picked up by some unseen entity and carried around the house while Anya is asleep or meditating. These are cheats, but work within the world of the story. The 360-degree angle rotation is used a few times, and it may be a few times too many. There are also a few times where the computer turns on without Anya knowing in the middle of the night, which is more problematic since we all know working on a computer alone is something old folks, dead or alive, have trouble doing. Edits occur as if this were a series of YouTube videos playing one after another. The film has fun and makes its own commercials to play in between the scenes, and there is a countdown to when the ad occurs that appears in the bottom corner. These are fun touches that aids in selling the authenticity of the videos. In terms of music, there are subtle musical cues occasionally throughout the film that intensify as it goes on. While this definitely takes away from the authenticity of the found footage motif, where everything we are seeing should be in the scene, it is much more subtle in Mind, Body, Spirit than in most found footagers. Still, I feel the film would have been much more effective without these musical cues. Why don't they just drop the camera and get the hell out of there? Anya views her journey of reading the journal as the direction she wants to go with her YouTube channel. She's documenting this journey, warts and all, to track the progress to get to what she thinks is a higher level of understanding of herself. So she's using her videos as a personal journal. a modern translation of the teachings she's gleaning from her grandmother's journal. Is there an up-nosed Blair Witch confessional or a wrecked drag-away from the camera? There is one up-close and personal scene reminiscent of Heather's snotty nose scene from Blair Witch Project, but it's different enough that it doesn't feel like a direct ripoff. Does anything actually happen? Is the lead-in too long and the payoff too short? What impressed me about Mind, Body, Spirit was that it starts right off the bat with the finding of the grandmother's journal, so the spooky stuff starts pretty much from the get-go. There are a few lulls after the journal is discovered, where we get to know Anya through her discussions with the camera and conversations with her mother and friend, but for the most part the supernatural stuff is peppered throughout pretty evenly, with things snowballing quickly in the last 20 minutes. The payoff, though predictable, was again evenly paced, so you don't just get a big reveal in the last seconds like many lesser found footagers. Does this film add anything to the subgenre, and is it worth watching? Mind, Body, Spirit is a found footage version of Hereditary, where a woman finds out about a close yet estranged relative who is deeply enmeshed with the occult. Structurally, it borrows a lot from Paranormal Activity, with tons of static shots, with supernatural things happening incrementally throughout the story. Much of the scenes are repetitive and feel like bits and pieces of films we've seen before. The use of yoga and spiritualism as a central theme is new, and there is one especially effective scene where Anya cleanses herself by swallowing a string and purging herself of what ails her that was unique, quite gross, and downright shocking. I found Mind, Body, Spirit to be a solid entry in the found footage genre. It doesn't offer much new, but presents itself in a mostly authentic, personable, and occasionally disturbing way. Well, there's a couple of found footage films for you to ponder over. How about you guys? Are you sick of found footage films? They still work for me every now and then. Let me know down in the comments. And until then...
Class is dismissed.
Please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications. You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're doomed. God live the life that you are meant to be. Live inside that